Hello everyone, my name is Bruce Elgort, and today I'm going to show you how to launch XAMPP in Microsoft Windows. In the last video, we left off with the XAMPP control panel being launched after installation. And here it is on the screen right now. And notice we have Apache, MySQL, FileZilla, and some other things installed here. But we are primarily concerned about Apache and MySQL. Now, before I click on the Start buttons to start each one of these, you'll notice here on the lower right-hand side in the Windows taskbar, you can see I have a XAMPP icon there. And if I right-click on it, I can see as well that I can start any of the things that XAMPP has from here. Okay, so I'm going to do it from the window here, and I'm going to click on Apache, and I'm going to click on Start. Notice how the Apache module is now started, and it says that it has two process IDs, don't worry about those, and is running on ports 80 and port 443. Now, how do we know that Apache is now running under XAMPP on this Windows system? Well, we're going to launch, what do you call it? Chrome. Yeah, that's it. And I'm going to open up a new tab, and I'm simply going to type in localhost, Localhost for localhost, and then hit enter. If you see this screen, that means that the Apache portion of XAMPP is working correctly. Okay? Now, later on in this video, I'm going to show you how to change this so you don't have to get this screen all the time and get a listing of your folders and files instead. Okay, so good. We now have our Apache web server running. So let's go back to the XAMPP control panel and let's click on Stop just to stop it. Now, if I refresh this page, you'll see that we get an error, okay? Because the Apache web server is no longer running. So good. So that's great. So now I started it again, and I'm going to click on MySQL. I'm going to click on Start, and you can see it's green, and the port number that MySQL uses is number 3306. Now, how do we test to see that our MariaDB or MySQL system is running? Well, we click on the link here on the upper right that says phpMyAdmin, and you'll notice that you get phpMyAdmin. Now, don't get too concerned about this, because at least in the beginning of this course, we're not going to be using MySQL or MariaDB right away, and I'll call it MySQL from now on, okay? Yes, it's MariaDB, but it's a derivative of MySQL. So good, it's all running. Now, you'll notice down here you have this error message, and we'll deal with that later on in our course. So let's go back to the XAMPP control panel, and let's stop MySQL. And just to prove to you that this is not going to work, we'll refresh the page here, and we should see an error, which we do, okay? Because the MySQL database engine is no longer running. Okay, so let's go back and turn everything off. Let's stop. And then let's quit out of the XAMPP control panel altogether. There it is. It's gone. And if you notice down here in the lower right on the taskbar, it's still there. Okay, so we can right-click and let's start Apache. There it is. Apache. Start. And if you remember from a couple minutes ago, how are we going to know that Apache's running? We will go in our web browser to localhost, and there it is. It's running. Now, where, right, on your file system are the files, right, that represent this page here, the images and, CSS and HTML? Where are they? So let's go into the File Explorer on Windows, and I'm going to go to this PC, and I'm going to go to the C drive. If you remember from a previous video, we installed our XAMPP on C:\XAMPP. So here, right, is the folder, and I'm going to double click on it, And then I'm going to look for something called htdocs. htdocs. It's right here. I'm going to double click on it. And here you can see there's a file called index. Okay, index. And it happens to be a PHP file, but don't be too concerned about that. And this is the file. This is this page right here that's being launched. Okay, so let me go back into Explorer, and you can see right here that index.php is there. Now, if I change this to index2.php, and I go back here and refresh my browser, and localhost again, and now you see that we have the contents of that htdocs folder. Okay? Notice you don't see it here in the path because the server is taking care of that for us. And if we drill down, say, into the XAMPP folder here, okay, you can see that there is nothing there. Okay? This is the contents of htdocs, just so you know. Okay? And there's nothing in the XAMPP folder. And if I go in, and let's just do this for grins, right? If I go into this folder and I rename it back to index.php and I refresh, you can see we get the dashboard page back. Now, what's happening here is anytime you have index.html, or if you have a PHP server installed and you have index.php, the server will launch those pages by default. Now, it's good for a beginner, and I do want you to go through and read all the material here, just for grins, because it's important. It's important to know what you have in front of you and what you'll be working with. Okay, but just know that when you feel comfortable, you can rename that page, and I'll just do it one more time. I'll call it index2, and I'll go back to localhost, and there is the index of the folders and files. Okay, be able to do that, and you're on your way to writing your first PHP page. Okay, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.